Hey, I'm Chris,
I'm Cyan.
I'm Israel.
And I'm Tyler.
and we are DSP's Morning Brief. We're here to keep you up to date with all the business knowledge that you need to know. To get us started, one piece of news that I thought was really interesting was the implications of Ring's doorbell Super Bowl ad. So this home security company aired a 30-second commercial showing a lost dog named Milo being tracked and reunited with his family through this interconnected neighborhood doorbell system called Search Party. And it was supposed to be this heartwarming application of technology, but there was immediate public backlash centered on privacy concerns. Viewers immediately recognized that if this technology was capable of tracking a lost dog, it could just as easily track people's movements across entire neighborhoods. So within days, the backlash forced Ring to terminate its entire partnership with the surveillance firm Flock Safety. And this really matters because it highlights how consumer home security products are increasingly being integrated into law enforcement surveillance infrastructure, often without users fully understanding the implications. This incident raises questions about where the line should really be drawn between public safety and mass surveillance, especially as millions of Americans have already installed these devices into their homes.
So Ring said the integration never actually launched though, right? So does that mean that the footage was never shared with anyone?
Yeah, good question to ask. So Ring officially stated that no videos were transmitted, but the infrastructure was ready to go, with the partnership with Flock Safety announced in October. So without the Super Bowl advertisement backlash, this could have been quietly rolled out to millions of already installed Ring cameras across the United States.
Yeah, okay, but I have to admit, I've never heard of Flock Safety before this. What exactly do they do?
Yeah, for sure. So Flock is the security company that makes camera systems and license plate readers that are already used by police across the country. And so this Ring partnership would have linked these private doorbell cameras directly to Flock's law enforcement network. This essentially turns every single Ring camera into a node that police surveillance can sort of access.
I mean, this feels like one of those technologies that's super helpful in theory, but there's obviously a darker side going on here. What exactly is that?
Yeah, definitely. So Ring cameras were initially marketed as these home security tools that monitor your front porch and sort of deter package theft. This search party feature demonstrates the technology's actual capability. It's able to track movements across entire neighborhoods block by block, and if you really scale that to millions of already installed devices, you're able to conduct mass surveillance of citizens that the public never got a chance to really discuss or push back on.
Awesome. Well, moving a little bit to a market brief, there's been a lot of momentum in semiconductors. The AI infrastructure boom continues to drive powerful earnings and momentum. Specifically, companies like SK Hynix and Samsung are expected to post sharply higher profits as chip prices surge, and Samsung specifically has been able to benefit from premium pricing and stronger shipments of next generation and high bandwidth memory that's used frequently in AI computing. Another company, Applied Materials, is essentially reinforcing that trend, reporting a profit of roughly 70% over year, and guiding revenue above expectations on strong memory chip demand over the next fiscal year. So the takeaway is pretty clear. AI capital expenditure remains one of the strongest forces in global equities.
How sustainable do you think the semiconductor rally is?
Yeah, I think it definitely is sustainable in the short term. You see, some of the Mag 7 companies posting high outlooks for capital expenditure within the next year, but I think investors are a little uncertain when it comes to looking far out into the future. Moving a little to consumer retail, Walmart appears very well positioned for 2026 stability. They're expecting a strong tax refund season and massive scale, as well as diversified profit streams, which should help offset tariffs and inflation concerns. And the company is now shifting from building digital and AI capabilities toward accelerating the execution of these. With that said, management is still likely to guide cautiously given things like high interest rates, layoffs, and pressure on middle income consumers. And then to touch on digital advertising a little bit, Pinterest has been under significant pressure. Multiple analyst downgrades at different banks highlight weak monetization capabilities, advertiser pullbacks tied to tariff, as well as growing competition from AI-driven platforms like Google. As a result, shares have dropped sharply, and expectations are for the stock to remain range-bound until execution can improve and they can essentially catch up with their AI capability.
Well, thank you, Tyler. And moving right into Gen Z investing instead of buying homes. So here's a trend that says a lot about the financial reality for young Americans right now. Instead of buying homes, more Gen Z and young millennials are putting their money into the stock market. And according to JP Morgan Chase Institute, the share of people ages 25 to 39 transferring money into investment accounts has more than tripled over the past decade to about 14.4%. And even more striking, around 40% of 26-year-olds today have moved money into investment accounts since turning 22. And at the same time, ownership among young Americans is falling. People aged 18 to 39 made up 51% of home buyers in 1999, but only about 44% in 2025. And rising home prices, higher mortgage rates, and large down payments are making buying a home feel kind of out of reach for early career workers.
For sure.
So, I mean, just from your perspective, is this shift happening because investing is becoming more popular, or because housing is becoming increasingly less affordable?
Yeah, great question. Really, it's actually both, but I feel like affordability is the main driver here. With home prices and mortgage rates so high, many young people are putting money they would have saved for a down payment into index funds and other investments. And since investing is now easy through like mobile apps, and so many see it as a flexible way to grow their wealth.
I think historically, home ownership has really been a main way that Americans build their wealth. So does this shift in financial habits and spending change this bigger picture?
Yeah, thank you. It does. I think it does change their spending habits. If younger generations, for example, rely more on financial markets instead of real estate, it could change how wealth is built and reduce long-term housing demand. And at the same time, while the market offers strong growth potential, it also comes with like more volatility and requires discipline.
For sure.
And the bottom line is, with housing affordability becoming a major barrier, younger Americans are building wealth the way they can. And right now, that means the stock market instead of real estate.
Finally, the last story of today is a showdown between the two largest powerhouses in the United States, Silicon Valley and New York, specifically the Pentagon. According to Axios, the Department of Defense is considering cutting off AI company Anthropic off of a roughly $200 million contract. The dispute centers around Anthropic's chatbot, Claude, and how it can be used by the US military. Anthropic built Claude with strict guardrails. The company and its employees say they don't want AI used for autonomous weapons or certain military operations, even if those uses are technically legal. But the US Department of Defense wants broader authority to use AI tools for lawful defense purposes. Tension spiked after reports that Claude was used in works with Palantir on the operation that removed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. It reportedly violated Anthropic's community guidelines as well as internal policies, and now both sides are taking it.
Yes. So is this just about one rate, or is it really like a bigger fight over how much control private AI companies should have over government use?
Great question. This is about much bigger than one operation. It's about who sets the rules for powerful AI systems. On one side, defense leaders see AI as a strategic asset and want flexibility, especially as global rivals invest heavily in military AI. But Anthropic believes that these systems need strict ethical limits to prevent harm. So it's not just a policy disagreement, it's a clash of how risk tolerance and philosophy could shape how AI companies in the military work moving forwards.
And so if the Pentagon ends up cutting these ties with Anthropic, what does that really mean for the future of AI in defense?
Great question. There's two options here. Number one is that they simply go to other AI companies. There are companies like ChatGPT, Grok, XAI, all of these other companies that could come in and fill the void. However, there are people in the Pentagon as well as internals at Anthropic who believe that their model is better than all the others, which leads to the second option, which is that people are going to have to redefine the way that these AI contracts are actually created. Either way, this isn't the last time that we're going to see big tech and the government clashing, and this is one instance of many others.
Yeah, interesting thing to think about for sure.
Well, thank you for listening to our DSP morning brief, and we'll see you next time.